versus Team Dire. And compLexity Gaming up 1-0 here in this best-of-3 series final matchup. So compLexity feeling it. Again, they beat Team Dire also in the winter finals yesterday. Getting the rematch now here in the grand finals. Having all of the momentum is safe to say. We'll see if Team Dire can finally stop that in what is game number 2. But Tsunami, we're already in the draft, and I was going to say, IO's not banned, and shocker, they go IO Tiny.
Tiny's not banned either.
Well, clearly PPD knew this was coming, or at least a very high possibility, and has a different plan at least now for game number 2.
Okay. I mean, I would imagine so. Earthshaker, from what little research I was able to do from the Dire, they do have a pretty good Earthshaker. I don't know like how they've been combining it, but Shaker has been a high win rate hero for them. And of course, PPD loves himself some Ancient Apparition, which is also like how they've been combining hero for them. So what ingredients are you going to have to change? One, I think that you need to, I guess, maybe pick a different mid lane for CCNC. Razor, in theory, should have been pretty safe, but he ended up dying quite a bit. And initially we were like, oh, you know, static link, 0 armor Tiny, you know, it's going to be pretty easy. And I also was just like, well, you know, Misery is probably going to spend a little bit of time in the mid lane, but not too much time. But Misery spent practically no time in the mid lane, and that ended up costing CCNC a lot of resources. So that didn't end up working out very well. And Pycat was never really in the game as Bloodseeker. I think I saw like 2 ruptures over the course of a 35-minute game. I think your core picks are going to need some reevaluation if you're the Dire.
Yeah, I'm with you. The cores in general did feel very underwhelming. It did seem like the Razor matchup was potentially a good one on paper, but whatever reason, it just didn't really play out as they expected. Again, in the laning phase, it was all right, but you know they had the kill on him earlier on eventually, and then it just, as a tiny IO tends to do, it kind of started to snowball. So the question is, how do you respond to that if you're Team Dire here? What are the picks? I mean, they already have an Earthshaker and an Ancient Apparition once again. The Earthshaker, so a little bit different than the Spirit Breaker, of course, coming out right here. So maybe the idea of the counter initiation is a little stronger now from the Earthshaker. Perhaps that's the start of the idea from PPD in his drafting, but we'll see. They banned Silencer themselves as well as Nature's Prophet. You see Clinks and Sven taken away from compLexity side meanwhile. So yeah, Clinks is a hero we've seen it here and there, and one that's actually pretty good against Wisp especially. We're picking him off, so not wanting to give it up.
I think something like a Death Prophet would be pretty good for the Dire. Part of the laning dominance from that IO Tiny combination came from the fact that Razor kept getting tossed back and didn't really have any recourse. The hero is relatively speedy, but sometimes you just take too much damage and you get thrown into a tower, no hero can deal with that. So a Death Prophet can kind of recover from it. I mean, obviously getting tossed is never plan A, but double Spirit Siphons on these 2 heroes that are trying to kill you in the mid lane can definitely help out. And as the mid and late game progress, Tiny is a hero that may have trouble going head-to-head against someone with Exorcism, someone with a lot of physical damage. Sure, you get armor from Craggy Exterior, but you don't start leveling that until all of your other spells are maxed. And so I think that would be one option, or you can go a different approach. You saw Tiny go for this Aghanim Scepter first item, didn't get spell immunity until way later. Maybe you go for something like a Queen of Pain, heroes with high magic burst. compLexity, I'm just going to assume they're going to go for the same thing, because if it worked day one, then why not go for it again?
Don't fix what ain't broken, as the saying goes, and that seems like the mentality they have right now. I mean, why not go Centaur here? I mean, they obviously can't go Puck at this point, because it is taken by Team Dire, and that was a very quick Puck pick as well. Perhaps that's kind of the answer themselves. Obviously, Puck, in a sense, he's great at dodging some dodging ganks in general, and perhaps that they're going to go with that idea here as far as the mid matchup goes. But it is going to be a little bit different of an offlane. Instead, they go the Beastmaster route here over the Centaur. So Centaur more the beefier, kind of brings that big team fight ability in the Stampede as far as a reaction, if anything. Beastmaster's more the I'm going to help you initiate. and also bring great vision with that Hawk, of course. So definitely a different style, but at the same time makes sense here.
5 seconds
Great vision
remaining.
and great push. I was mentioning earlier how Tiny's often biggest weakness is the lack of attack speed, but now we already saw the power of overpower. Why not throw some inner beast upon that mix and just really burn through towers? So I like this Beastmaster pick quite a bit, and picking a Weaver into a Beastmaster and a Warlock and a Tiny, all these chain disables seems a bit risky because even a Lincoln Sphere won't be able to protect you that much. You may be able to get out of the Roar initiation, but chances are Beastmaster is not going to be a initiating kind of hero. Roar is going to be used like during team fights. I don't think this Beastmaster is going to be going for an early Blink Dagger. If anything, it's probably going to be like Solar Crest, possibly Necrobook. Sometimes you see Shadowblade occasionally. So this Weaver pick is curious to me.
Something we have actually been seeing a lot on Beastmasters lately is even the Helm of the Dominator coming out. You get an even extra minion for your army, and obviously the aura that it brings, and being complexity especially, I really wouldn't be surprised if that's his choice. As far as priority, and then, yeah, maybe the Solar Crest, and then a Blink eventually, too. So, Necronomicon, a lot of these Beastmasters recently have felt like they've been passing it up, and I think it's for the better from just how it's been playing out here for a lot of them. But, yeah, you talked about the Weaver coming out for Team Dire, so definitely a different core. You expect that to be in the hands of Pycat here for them. Brings a good physical presence, of course. Just ideally, he doesn't get locked down in these fights, which already compLexity has a lot of lockdown that they're working with here. So, one point that was being brought up about the last draft too of Team Dire was on the topic of lockdown. They were lacking it to a fair extent. You know, their mid being a Razor, obviously a Bloodseeker, support Spirit Breaker, support Ancient Apparition, and I think what was their offlane there? Darkseer. So yeah, when it came to stuns especially, they really didn't have much. This time, they got Earthshaker, they got the Puck with the Dream Coil, at least, in a sense, is kind of that. So they're already a little bit better, but maybe that's something else they also want to think about with this potential final pick here. Let's
Yeah, especially because Weaver, while being very mobile, more often than not, you want to be able to use Shikuchi as an evasive maneuver, not as an initiating maneuver. So you want something to be able to keep enemies still, which, like you said, Puck and Earthshaker are obviously very good at that. Now they need to be considering. So the thing is that I don't know how Dire has been playing it. The Dire, Team Dire has been playing it, but I've been seeing Earthshaker and Puck like be relatively flexible with how they use their roles. And yeah, as I thought that it would maybe not be an offlane shaker, but it's going to be a 4-position shaker and an offlane Timbersaw instead, which is an interesting look because I have not seen Timbersaw in quite a while.
Yeah, and he's definitely not an NA hero necessarily. He's not one of those. Oh, an NA he's been picked. And I can't speak for that.
That's the question that I had. Yeah.
Yeah. That's I know he's made some appearances, but it's definitely not a popular pickup from what I've been witnessing at least.
Oh wait, actually, yeah, okay, yeah. For a second, I mean they have 4 potential offlane heroes, but my money's on the offlane Timbersaw, mid lane Puck, safe lane Weaver.
Well, hear me out here. Well, what about mid Timbersaw against the Tiny IO matchup? Would that potentially be all right? I mean, reactive armor. Granted, burst is kind of the counter to reactive armor. It's host magic damage, but
right.
So yeah,
and
maybe that doesn't.
The other thing is that mid Timber doesn't really like to skill chain, and so if you do get tossed back, and Timbersaw is not a very fast hero in terms of move speed, then he has really no way of getting out of it. You can go head to head with him, because Io is a strength hero, Tiny's a strength hero, Whirling Death will do a hell of a lot of damage to these heroes, but again, you have to survive the burst. So you may be right, though. And maybe that's their response, as it's going to be
the Bloodseeker.
Puck.
Oh, I was like, that's a Bloodseeker. What do you mean it's there? What's taking you forever? Okay, so yeah, CCNC is playing the Puck there. Yeah, you're right. And there's Zai selecting the Timbersaw. So yeah, at least as far as the players playing the heroes here, that's what you again think it's gonna be.
I mean, for what it's worth, at least Zai's net worth is gonna be going to something useful, because last game he did good on the Darkseer. It's just that he wasn't able to do anything. He wasn't allowed to do anything. His team was not in a position to ever make a mechanism or a pipe of insight worth it. But you managed to get a quick and early Bloodstone, maybe go for a Yules instead if you're concerned about relocate. To be able to cancel that. Timbersaw can do a lot of damage to this compLexity gaming lineup.
I think Bloodseeker was a really strong pick, though, at the same time for complexity. The Rupture is going to be really good this game across the board. However, there are a couple of already Lincoln candidates.
Really good across the board for the Radiant team, that's for sure.
Yeah, Weaver and Puck definitely heroes that will be looking to build Lincolns, I'm sure. Not sure about Timbersaw necessarily, but at least those two.
Well, he can go for Lotus. Lotus is a pretty common pickup on
True.
Timbersaws.
Very, very true. So, again, if you're just joining us for Game 2, guys, you missed Game 1, well, complexity, once they got rolling with the IO Tiny combination, it just got out of control, and they took it. Now, we were expecting an IO ban in Game 2, and I know we're not alone in that, but PPD, this is confidence right here, because this is one of those, if you lose again to this, let the call-outs begin, let the haters speak, right? But not that PPD cares, I mean, and nor should he, but that's what's going to be talked about if this works again for complexity. But they feel confident that they are able to match up against it here.
30 seconds
so they're giving it the shot. Is Lem's going to be at the top lane? I mean, right now he's setting up here, but no, Beastmaster's up here actually. Interesting. So, well, they got information. They're trying to figure out who's going to be where.
I think it's definitely in their best end. Like, even if it... Well, I can't think of any situation in which Tiny IO wouldn't want to go mid, so... Yeah. Although... Oh, yeah, okay, Z-Freak needs his bottle money. Yeah, sorry. I was like... Yeah. Offlane solo IO.
Do it. Classic offlane solo IO now. Not going to happen here.
I mean, what is a classic is, maybe not a classic, but I've seen Zai play a lot of Timbersaw. Not necessarily in competitive games, but in pubs, he's familiar with the hero quite a bit, and so I'm looking forward to seeing him handle this. Like you said, it doesn't seem to be an NA pick, so I don't know if he's played it on this roster yet, but I have high hopes for it being the answer to this Tiny IO combination.
And Timbersaw seems like a fitting hero for a player like Zai too. He's a little bit crazy, but at the same time, he can really be effective just even by himself. He doesn't necessarily need a team always to be of usefulness when it comes to ganking or whatever, getting solo kills. He pours to the bottom lane, by the way, so there's a lot of adjustments going on here from either side. Bloodseeker did end up top. You do have Beastmaster rotating to the bottom, and Kyle for now is staying down here. It's similar to last game. He's just going to be a Shadow Word bot in the beginning, it seems like. So it's Earthshaker Puck versus an IO Tiny mid this time now. We see here, bottom lane, a little bit of back and forth. Zai not afraid to run at them. He went reactive armor first, but only level 1, so it's not the most mitigate or most regen here.
No, and it's not going to help against magic damage. Yes, oh man, he's getting low.
That felt very odd to me. He seemed like almost like he had Timber Chain, yet obviously he didn't yet, so.
Just shake off the cobwebs. There's no problem.
Yeah.
Mid lane. Limp. Tossing this puck all around.
The phase shift, I don't even know if that really did anything, to be honest, but it does ultimately allow him to get away right there, pops the south, and he'll be fine. But a lot of pressure being applied from complexity to start this game. 2-minute rune. Z-Freak's going to pick it up. Of course, Misery here to try to prevent it. It is picked up by Misery, so that's a pretty big deal. I mean, that's an empty bottle now on Wisp, and that means Tiny is going to have to be a little more careful. Like this. You know what? By careful, he's going to go YOLO, so we'll see how this works. All right, he's fine.
I think the biggest thing is that Z-Freak, I mean, we've been seeing that his plan of attack is like, okay, I spend some time in the mid lane, and then I do a little cycle around these camps of mine to build up your retirement account. It's not even a retirement account. It's more like a trust fund for this Tiny. As he gets locked in, really nice fissure.
Oh my god, that angle. The avalanche, but that's not going to be enough, is it? He gets a save from Z-Freak, who got the bounty rune and the charges on the bottle to save the day. He heals him up as a result. The clutch timing from Z-Freak. Oh my gosh. If he does not grab that bounty rune beforehand, this Tiny's 100% dead.
100% dead. 200% dead.
300 even, I'll say. Oh, he's going to one-up. No. But yeah, beautiful block initially from Misery, as you pointed out. It just simply wasn't enough because of the big play on the other side. Coming out there. So again, bottom lane. Zai, he's being run down. He does not have Timber Chain yet. He chose to go the Whirling Death at level 2 and can't really keep his distance. And it seems like Complexity's picking up on that. I mean, they're just running at him Only 5 charges of reactive armor, of course, maxing out, so they're not afraid.
No, they're not. And sometimes, as like I can kind of excuse his first death, because more often than not, a Beastmaster will get boars at level 1, and you don't really expect axes so early on. And so you're like, alright, it's gonna be a boar, it's gonna give me another target to get reactive armor off, a CCNC in the mid lane, killing off Z-Freak.
Yeah, that was, I was going to say that they're not complexity's doing it constantly where they're not necessarily going for the kill, but they're just really keeping Puck on his back foot and forcing him to regen. But that time, Ancient Apparition roaming in and obviously Earthshaker there. It's like they were expecting that because of how often that's been happening. And they end up turning on to IO as a result. Bottom lane, okay, Timbersaw will be fine here as he's running after.
You can never be too sure now.
Yeah, I'm just like, well, what is going on there now? But so IO going down, though. Nice kill in the middle lane for Team Dire. Puck is actually doing pretty well here when it comes to last hits, especially. He is 29 compared to a 15-2 Tiny.
Puck's doing fine, but that's because Misery has been spending a lot more time in this mid lane than he did in Game 1, because Game 1 he was Spearbreaker, he was just like, oh man, you're a Razor, what help do you need? I'm gonna go help other lanes, but this time Misery has been sitting around mid. You saw PPD get that rotation earlier on so they can kill off that IO. More focus is being given to the mid lane, and that's one of the things that I said that I think Team Dire need to reevaluate. You can't let this tiny ball out of control. You can't let this IO just freely start stacking camps and give this tiny no protection with no punishment.
Well, IO, in the time being, he is stacking a camp. As you say that, Limp, middle lane is in trouble. No, he's fine. He's even just going to run back in and gets a last hit with a toss right there. So, but just taking some pressure. The Shrine, okay, I thought they might have waited for somebody else, but no, just these two. Going to use it. Head back towards the bottom lane. So IO, meanwhile, going all the way back to base after doing that stack. Going to regen that bottle. Yeah, look to come back with a stick as well. He also has the infused raindrop queued up here. As Tiny has one on himself, Puck does not have one yet. Nor does he have that queued up. Is that something that you think Puck should be looking to get here in this middle matchup? As I say that, they go in. That probably would have been useful here. So you can see the Waning Rift. Pops a phase shift in the Illusory Orb. He will be fine in the long run here, as Warlock's also here to heal up Limp. But yeah, is that something that I should get?
The same kind of resources that the Razor was given in Game 1, then I would say yes, a Raindrop is absolutely necessary. But Raindrop does not help you play offensively.
Okay.
It's pretty much, yes, technically it gives you mana regen, but something like completing this Null Talisman, which the double Null Talisman is a pretty big spike for a Puck. Again, you see him taking a lot of damage, but he's going to survive.
Barely.
He's going to survive.
Toss in 3. Nope, the orbs get it. Z-Freak gets the kill. Z-Freak, he gets stunned. Running back, the heal being put up by his brother right there, and Kyle. Is it enough? It looks like it is. Misery now could be in some trouble. Avalanche in 1 second. Avalanche, yep, going in right there. Misery tossed in the air, and he's dead too. And who was that? Timbersaw died bottom again.
Yeah.
Oh no, 5-1 start for complexity.
Radiant's bottom tower.
And this is also a max boar Beastmaster, because at first I was just like, oh, okay, it must have been Wild Axes. He must have just gotten like a big physical nuke before Timbersaw could build up any reactive armor stacks. But no, it's max boar. It's the traditional anti-melee build. But I mean, and now he has a freaking full helm with a Dominator, like you mentioned on this Beastmaster. Moo is out of control right now.
Wow. Yeah, Hellbear Smasher picked up. He's
the highest net worth hero by like 500 gold at 7 minutes in.
That's insane. Yeah, for an offlane Beastmaster, this is a pretty ridiculous hero, and he's just running at Timbersaw with his inner beast, the aura of the Hellbear Smasher. Like the attack speed too that's coming out between him and the minions is pretty ridiculous as well. So actually an interesting minion to pick up right there. From him. Okay, so we've completely been ignoring the top lane, by the way. Weaver is doing very well up here. Pycat is doing very well. He's got the early, wand, the Ring of Aquila. It looks like he's going to be going that first item, well, at least a medallion, and then into the Lincolns here at this time. But yeah, so at least that's something going pretty well for Team Dire, right?
Well, if they get this gank on the mid, then definitely pretty good. Otherwise, you don't really want to have spend your Weaver moving around over here, as now dude, poor Zai, man, what the hell is going on here? I mean, he got roared, granted, but like still, I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, he still doesn't have Timber Chain. Not that I necessarily think that would be 100% saving a Z-Freak, by the way. Tether, yep, he's gonna be fine for now. Need to kill that bug. They will.
Pycat wants it.
Pycat wants it, and he'll get it. Gemini attack, but here comes Bloodseeker now. The Avalanche comes out on 2, including Puck. You see Tiny, he is dropping. Obviously doesn't have IO to save, but that Blood Right forcing them away. There is a Shrine use up here as well. Pycat, not much mana to work with. The Rupture comes out. Now CSC and C. Lucerio forward. Yeah. Slowly. He kind of has to run. He's dead.
It hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts.
That was a tough spot to be in. He played it as well as I think he could have right there, but in the end, just too much pursuit, and that Rupture is just too strong coming out there. So, yeah, they didn't even kill Limp. That was only for the kill onto Wisp right there.
Yeah, and you had to commit the Dream Coil for that, which isn't the most long duration spell, but still, you wasted a lot of time that Weaver could have been farming, whereas Chessie was just, all he needed to do was a TP rotation to show up to that.
Yeah, you see Beastmaster just doing Ancients here this early on in the game.
Tiny was just like, dude, you're taking my Ancients, and I'm like, I'm sorry, did you see the net worth? Do you see who the actual 1 position is right now? I think you might be mistaken.
Yeah, no, Beastmaster is definitely capable of taking over this early game at least. This is a hero that can not only get solo kills very well, but push objectives very well. And we already see that at the bottom lane. And he just runs at Timbers. This is...
How about on the top lane, though? Warlock, he's so dead.
He is dead. Look at this, though. He's just simply running him down the whole time. And he doesn't have a Timber Chain, so he can't get away. But there is a TP coming in. And now actually Moo could be in trouble. So this was the plan all along. They bait him out a little bit too far. And Beastmaster, oh, he does go down. Can he get the turn kill, though? No, he cannot. Enough regen kicks in for Timbersaw, and he will survive. So this time the bait works out, and they get a response. And Zai gets a huge bounty there, too, for that kill. So that is pretty big. This top lane now, Pycat really is using that Shikuchi aggressively. That's a Rupture. Can they stop him? No.
Oof, no cancel.
Yeah, good decision by Misery there. So that's positive for Team Dire. They get a couple of kills in a row, making up some room now, including Beastmaster.
Yeah, but Beastmaster should not have been able to get this far ahead at all because, I mean, I'm not going to say that they committed very many resources. It was just Timbersaw who hasn't gotten very much in a PPD, Ancient Apparition, but Limp has still yet to die a single time on this Tiny, and he's been getting his stacks done. And actually, this time he's going to be going for a Blink Dagger first instead of the Aghanim Scepter first. So maybe the presence of this super farmed Beastmaster means that I don't need to go in so deep as now. They're going on CCNC, but that's kind of a...
it's not going to be enough damage initially. Shocker in the back lands. A Prime Roar and a Timbersaw. They do eventually finish off Puck. And now with the follow-up burst coming in from Limp, they take out Timbersaw. Obviously, the turn kill onto the Beastmaster at least. Pycat runs in with the Shikuchi, looking to drop Z-Freak right here, but at what cost for him? The Avalanche, the toss, that's a triple kill for Limp. And Z-Freak's going to live as they kill off the bug. This is the great thing about a Helmet of the Dominator as well, is that you can kind of play after you're dead.
On to Misery.
Oh, no.
Oh,
He's
it
dead.
hurts.
Yeah,
oh, it hurts.
Tossed
oh, it hurts.
He tried to get denied. He's like, come here, creeps. Aggro me. They didn't want to. They're just chilling, eating some grass. Well,
now they're eating blood-stained grass. I mean, complexity. If PPD must have had a plan for this tiny IO, but it's not coming together yet. And if it was reliant on this Timbersaw, then it's not going to come together anytime soon. Because even though you got that kill onto the Beastmaster, the Timbersaw should not be this far behind to begin with. Still working on Arcane Boots, and now has finally taken a point in Timber Chain. I can understand why he wouldn't go for it early on. It only buys you a little bit of time, and that's the point that could have been giving you more armor. But yeah, his mobility has been heavily limited. And that means that he can't really show up to these gank attempts. Like, there's so many fights going on in the mid lane, but a Timbersaw with no Timber Chain shows up, what's he really going to do? Hopefully you can get a kill on Chessie now in top lane.
They should be able to get this, yeah. They collapse him in. There's no way he's getting out with the Ice Blast hitting. So, again, it's finds like that that's going to help Team Dire come back in this game. But now we see Timbersaw. Is he running into a trap? He sure is. He gets comboed. Just look at that life melt away, man. Even with a casual cloak on him currently, it just doesn't matter. He just goes down. Limp is just doing so much damage, obviously showing off his blink as well. And now middle lane, CCNC could be... Oh, he just used Orb. He does a port with it.
Jaunt.
Okay.
It's nighttime, though.
Yeah.
So no vision.
Yeah, you're right. It's a little risky there, but he is fine. What's the item for Puck here? I mean, Puck's a hero that, you know, is doing an okay start himself. what does he get? You think just his own blink?
Optimistically, a blink, yes, is now Ice Blast, Timbersaw. Oh, poor Zion, man.
Z-Freak's in trouble, though. That Ice Blast, as you mentioned, it did hit, so a nice counter. However, the Primal Roar hits Puck as he comes in, and Puck melts away. So they get the kill on a Wisp, but it ends up being 2. Limp, not going to go further. They're going to go for the objective instead, using that Chaotic Offering to assist with it as well. So, yeah, the counter was kind of set up for Team Dire there with the Ice Blast hitting initially. But Puck obviously really got in an awkward spot, and he got locked down by that Primal Roar. Whatever his item was, is now delayed.
Maybe it should be Lincoln's then.
Yeah.
Like, he has a blink in his quick buy, and like, respect to him for going for it, because I guess Lincoln's could be one of those like game-losing items in which, like, if I get a Lincoln's, then there's no way that we have any initiation, because Earthshaker is miles away from a blink dagger. Weaver has been trying to initiate on fights, and we see how that works out with him eating an avalanche toss. Maybe he can kill this courier, though. Yeah, it's... Oh,
okay. Oh,
you can stall it, but it's dead.
I was gonna say, what? Okay. Yeah, it wasn't much on it. Just some regen, thankfully, for compLexity side at least. But oh, now he's running into them. Yeah, that's ambitious. He does have his ulti. It's not needed, though. A little scary right there. So Weaver's still proven to be pretty slippery with that Shukuchi. And again, the Lincoln Sphere almost finished on him. Well, kinda. He still even needs the ultimate orb, so actually
he's
stalls
got
a little
ways to go on that one.
Yeah.
And I like the idea to go for the medallion first. Actually, the Chinese Weaver has been going for a Diffusal first, almost exclusively.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes you'll see Lincoln's first, but you'll see Diffusal very, very commonly. And the purpose is kind of twofold. Like, yeah, it raises your damage, but again, I said that Weavers want to be able to use their Shukuchi for evasive maneuvers, not aggressive maneuvers most of the time, especially against a comp like what compLexity has. And so a Diffusal allows you to kite a target so you don't get kited. I mean, it allows you to slow a target so you don't get kited. Oh man, CCNC is...
I saw that.
A high ping here, I guess.
I was watching that the whole time, and I'm with you. I thought he was actually going to get him, and I know it's sometimes we don't mean to be too critical on players because lots on the line and mistakes happen, but it seems like he had vision of him there initially with that illusory orb, and he had a little bit of time to react to the Dream Coil. He just simply did not in time, and by the time he did, obviously the TP went through. So yeah, I wasn't looking from his vision necessarily, to be fair, but
no, I mean, illusory orb vision did get nerfed a little bit, but he knew.
Yeah.
But land cafe, maybe some packet loss here and there. Who knows?
Whatever the reason, Bloodseeker does get
tiny.
out.
Oh, this Echo Saber. Oh, he gets stunned.
Yep.
Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, the Echo Saber, as you mentioned, doing work there. And as I was talking about the previous game, too, this is what I believe he usually goes, the Echo Saber, then into the Ags, of course. But last game, he made a priority to go sooner into the Ags, and even with the drums instead. So just kind of a curious change there. Yeah, so what he's doing.
Yeah, it's adaptation. It's working out very well. This Blink Dagger has allowed them to get a lot of picks, and since you've got this now maxed out Inner Beast on the Beastmaster, you don't really need the power of the Aghanim Scepter to be able to take down structures very quickly, which they've already taken down 3 towers, whereas yet again, Team Dire has only managed to take down 1 tower.
Feel like it's almost deja vu here, Tsunami, because we're even saying the same things. The 1 tower kill, 17 minutes in, like it's...
I've played this game before.
Yeah, it's wait a second. We queue up a replay, or I don't know. No, it's just this is not looking good for Team Dire. It is a real game. I am confirming that here. So it is slightly different enough to know that, but this is compLexity. They're feeling it. This is a team that definitely feeds off of momentum. A very energetic team, especially led by Kyle at that captain role, and no doubt they're feeling good as they should be with the way this game's looking again. But definitely still room to make up for Team Dire, and space to be had. You have Chessie trying to finish that Radiance, 1,900 gold saved up. But he is getting there. Warlock does have his hand of Midas finished, by the way. And yeah, Kyle's just farming up the jungle here meanwhile. And when a 5 support could just farm the jungle like this pretty safely, you know that their team's doing pretty well. And hell, his Tiny's stealing the other team's Ancients as well. Meanwhile, so.
Yeah, I think in game 1, after Kyle completed the Midas, he was like, okay, I'm gonna start hanging out with you guys now, because more often than not, you just need to get that over that hump, which Kyle was given like the resources both in game 1 and in game 2 for like the first 15 minutes. Like, you're gonna stay in lane, you're gonna shadow ward your offlaner, and then after that you can go find solo experience, solo gold elsewhere, complete your Midas, and then we'll hook up again. And right now, with the smoke gank and the potential for a relocate, they might be able to find a big pick.
Pick on Puck. Seems like that's likely going to happen here. The Science on top of the Primal Roar. Easy lockdown, and they find Ancient Apparition in the back line. So good job splitting up the targets, too, to make sure to maximize there. compLexity and a nice rotation into the Roshan pit. Top it all off. Yeah, the Necro level 1.
Systematic.
Yeah. It's like clockwork here for compLexity in this game, too, as well. Similar to the first game, Weaver, Pycat, again, the Lincolns is almost here now. I mean, he does have 1,1600 gold, but it's slowly going up, and a lot of that just continues to be that it's just such a dangerous map to be on, well, especially against an IO Tiny, but you have a Bloodseeker running around. You have a Beastmaster who is just insanely farmed this game, and a very annoying and scary hero, especially with that Hawk vision again. So it's understandable why Team Dire is having so much trouble farming and getting anything done on the map right now, but
I mean, hell, you have like 3 heroes who desperately need the farm. Zai's been trying to recover on this Timbersaw. We haven't really seen him be up to much, which is perfect. You don't want to see a Timbersaw who's underfarmed constantly being involved in fights unless if he has a Bloodstone, which he's working on it right now, but still quite a ways away. And then you've got this Shaker who has managed to complete a Blink, and that's great, but that means that that's farm that Weaver wasn't getting, and so hopefully they can do something now. They've got Blink, Echo Slam, they've got Initiation Power. Hopefully Weaver doesn't have to be the first person in fights now.
You saw right there, they were chasing on Isle that whole time, and he did a good job, obviously, tethering to Tiny, and even with the AA Ice Blast hitting, a pretty good placement from PPD, it just a little too far to pursue that further, so they decided to give up. They are grouped up here at the top lane, soaking up a little bit of farm, getting closer to those set items and trying to make up here, and maybe going to try to pressure the top tier 2 tower. But look at this bottom rune, by the way. Double damage. We'll see if Tiny maybe... No, he's heading towards top, actually, so not going to be getting... That's going to be found here by IO. Actually bottles it up, of course, and heads back towards the top lane to defend right here. I mean, Team Dire, they're trying to push a tier 2 tower. They do have the Blink on Earthshaker, so this is them trying to make a big play here and capitalize with that new Blink.
The problem is they don't have the best vision for this. They have no deep wards inside of this Dire jungle, so you don't really know where... I mean, like, you saw the Axis of Beastmaster, but you don't know where this Warlock and his potential Chaotic Offering are. You don't know where the Bloodseeker and his potential Rupture are. So, and without the pre-placed wards, you're not going to be able to confidently go for that, because there might be a Hawk watching you, and Moo ended up going for Necrobook 3, so he's going to start getting rid of your wards very shortly after.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's something to really, I think, reiterate and stress, is this Hawk. It's one of those abilities as a spectator, it's hard to appreciate sometimes, but no doubt it's just constantly giving this team the vision they're looking for, and actually, they almost caught Pycat because of that, but he barely slips out of there, and will continue to just almost finish that Lincoln Sphere, as all he needs now is the pattern. So just about has it. They are going to push a tier 1 middle. Look at this. I mean, they're going to react. Like I said, this is a tier 1, and they want to react. Rupture comes out. Out comes a Chaotic Offering. That's an easy kill on a Misery. And now Puck, can he somehow escape out of this? He's trying to Illusory Orb. And it might be far enough unless Tiny blinking 1. Not going to go
takes
for
him
it.
back.
Yeah. Relocates back, has the Axe, of course, but that's a tier 1 tower at 22 minutes that they're still looking to defend so aggressively, and obviously it pays off for them.
Yeah, it pays off handsomely, and now they're going to get tier 2 for their troubles. Still have about 2 more minutes left on this Aegis as well, so you're willing to take any fights if you can get your hands on it.
There you go, Timber Chain in, Zai. I don't know about that. Yeah, that's a bit of a mistake, it feels like, and he's in trouble now. Ice Blast does come out and connect, but Zai, he will fall as a result of the choice to initiate right there. And you just see this army of Beastmaster, the Necronomicon, the Helm of the Dominator, the Boars naturally. Pycat picks off Kyle in the back lines, but that might come at a cost. He time-lapsed away initially, but now looking over it, a Limb finds in, the Blood Rage is not going to connect, and Pycat actually will survive. So he did a good job of actually getting a pick and then falling back at least. But the rest of his team is just having trouble trying to defend these outer towers, and that's not going to be done. Both tier 2s go down.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Yeah, Tiny kind of missed the Avalanche after that toss onto Pycat, and he was able to get away from that because otherwise Avalanche would have connected, and then Blood would have silenced him right after. But he buys himself enough time, able to successfully complete off the Lincoln Sphere, so it's going to help against Rupture. It's going to help against the toss, but aside from that, you're still pretty squishy as a Weaver.
Uh-oh. Well, they find Beastmaster right here. This should be a free kill. Kill the minions. Limp gets hit by the Ice Blast in the back, but they didn't finish off Beastmaster. He runs the other way. He should eventually die, but he does distract them, if anything, and leads them towards over here. So it took a little bit longer, but a good TP in from really the team of Team Dire. And at least they pick off him, and that's, again, a nice little bounty there for Pycat, actually. Who, of course, has the Lincolns now, and now he has that Diffusal queued up. So now we're going to start seeing a little bit of damage threat come out once he finishes that item, at least, from the Weaver.
Again, though, it's still pretty glass cannon-y from him. Like, yes, Medallion is an item that gives you armor. Yes, Lincoln Sphere is an item that will protect you from one spell, but I'm still concerned. Like, I'm glad at least he finished out the full treads, because more often than not, we'll see Weavers who either don't build boots or will just stick it as brown boots. But going for the full treads is definitely helping out, and he's kind of replacing the need for these items with his talents. He's gone for the +6 strength talent as opposed to the Shikuchi damage at level 10, and he's gone for the +7 all stats as opposed to the damage. So you have two different ways of dealing with these shortcomings for Weaver. Either you can itemize against them, or you can talentize against them, and Pycat's taking the talent route.
That he is. So going for the survivability there. You look at the smoke up, though, as a team. The only one not with them would be the Bloodseeker, who is running towards their direction now at least, but Chessie needs to be a little careful not to get caught himself, because currently Team Dire is not smoked up. I thought they were, actually, but they still might jump. However, they're ready to react. They are going to go for this jump, but at what cost for them now? Here comes Misery, jumps in as well, but Limp got the combo on 2. Takes them all out. The Ice Blast connects, but it doesn't matter. It's a complete cleanup in favor of compLexity. Well, not a complete, because Weaver wasn't even there, but you could just feel that happening. They had the jump from Team Dire initially, and then you knew that compLexity was. They're going for the game. This is it. GG's called, and compLexity's going to Kiev for the StarLadder Minor here from the North American qualifiers. What a run by this team. They have to take out Team Dire twice.
Were so fatal. They just kicked PPD's stack out of the qualifier entirely. Wow, compLexity. This is I've never seen them look this good. I'll be honest. I've always had my eye on the team because, you know, got to rep North America. Yeah. But this is the most one-sided I've ever seen their matches be. Like, aside from like open qualifier tier like round 1 teams or something like that. But no, this is grand finals of a minor qualifier for $300,000 prize pool. This is serious business, and they came out swinging with a solid 2-0.
And this wasn't a, oh, well, compLexity had a favorable bracket. You know, I'm looking back right now to double check. They first off beat Team Leviathan, which, by the way, went third place in this event. Then they beat Evil Geniuses 2-1, which it definitely was a big victory in itself. And then, of course, they had to defeat Dire twice in 2 best-of-3s back-to-back, which they actually beat them both 2-0 in the end.
They 4-0'd them, basically.
So they definitely had to make a run here in the StarLadder event. It was not an easy time by any means, and it absolutely deserving. And, you know, again, it's a little bit of a, you know, not to sound biased, but it is anyways, and it frankly is. I mean, obviously, I'm a bit of a compLexity fan as well, and I've known these guys for a long time. Definitely also have known Cy and PPD, but it helps knowing that they've at least already qualified for their own minor with the BTS minor. I am happy for compLexity here, and just because not only did they kind of just sneak in for, you know, other teams were busy with other events, they showed that they belong. And this squad, when it was first announced here about a month or so ago, a little more than that, I was excited for it, as I know many people were, and they're showing why people should be excited for them. So, but I'm also kind of excited with the fact, as we're talking about at the beginning, 4 different qualifiers have finished for NA now for these minors and majors. 4 different teams. EG for the ESL, Immortals for PGL. Again, Team Dire for the BTS event. and then compLexity now for the StarLadder. I think that in itself is just a cool thing to see when it comes to a specific region, at least. So, congrats to compLexity. They absolutely deserve it here, Tsunami.
Now we just need to see if the power rankings can settle out, as all these teams will attend these lands, because same thing for the China region that I was casting. Keen Gaming was the one who ended up qualifying for the major at Hamburg, and then VGJ Thunder is the one that ended up qualifying for that PGL Open in Bucharest, and Vici Gaming was the one that qualified for this tournament, the StarLadder Invitational. And so it's a brave new world